Hey guys, thanks for stopping by to watch another video here at All I See is W. In today's video, I wanted to share with you one hot Bitcoin miner company that I believe is going to make huge gains in the year 2025. We'll talk about my technical analysis as well as provide to you why I'm so bullish on this company from a fundamental analysis standpoint, as well as talk about the overall Bitcoin price action today. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate the love with the support and subscribe. It was so amazing seeing price of Bitcoin today ramp up to close to $102,000, currently running up to about 100,000, sub 101,000. What's driving all of that news? We recently saw the rise in the price of Bitcoin getting back up into the $100,000 with the CPI data that was released. The overall investors see much better results, seeing how we're combating inflation. And I think a lot of the uncertainty is beginning to start going away, especially with the inauguration coming up. Monday, market's going to be closed. However, Bitcoin price will continue to go up, and it'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin price will behave in the next coming days. We're wondering whether it's going to run up or is it going to go down. We really don't know what that answer is until we reach, Monday. Let's begin first, guys, by talking about Bitcoin price action. So today we saw some great price targets reaching up to about 102,000 just recently. Now it's currently at almost 101,000. A lot of great news that we see coming out, favoring Bitcoin. There's going to be shifts in the crypto policy making, deregulation, change in the SEC board, removal of Gary on the SEC chair. Also, a lot of new leaders in the administration. So, with Trump's team on board now, we're going to see a lot of leadership changes here. And what's interesting is that Oklahoma also plans to buy and hold Bitcoin as a state asset, highlighting its strategic importance. So we've heard about Pennsylvania, Texas being states that will implement a reserve for Bitcoin. And now we see Oklahoma on board. Also, there was news about US recovering and returning about close to 12 billion in Bitcoin from the 2016 Bitfinex hack to victims. So that just shows sentiment of the administration providing, some returns to those who were hacked with Bitcoin, but not necessarily the government selling the Bitcoins that was retrieved from the Silk Road. So all of that's going to be hodled by the government. The United States is going to have the most Bitcoin on the, balance sheet on their reserve, and China will be number two. US will continue to build on that number count, and all of that's going to be driven from financial institutions like BlackRock hodling up more Bitcoin right now, as well as big time companies like MicroStrategy, including the Bitcoin miners doing their job buying and continuously mining at a low fixed cost. So I will cover the one hot Bitcoin miner play that has huge potential, and that is Riot Platforms, ticker RIOT. So we're looking at technical analysis here, looking at just the relative strength. We've seen a number of bear indicators within the recent months of like September, October, but these were times to actually buy, buying at that low point of like $8. Within the last 3 months, we've seen about a 50% gain with Riot Platforms. But just looking at it from a technicals analysis, support established is at around the $10. I think where we currently are at 13.27, we're beginning to see more price actions, heavy inflow, volumes picking up. There's more liquidity in the mining sector. And I believe because we see less of the drawbacks with Riot, we've seen heavy pullbacks in the year 2024, especially pre and post Bitcoin halving. But I think now we're beginning to see Riot start picking back up, reaching its prior resistance that we saw $15 back in November. It also ran back up, late December close to around 14, $15. And now where it currently is priced close to mid $13, I think we're going to see that retest here possibly by tomorrow or even heading into next week. And then as we start seeing Bitcoin reach that $120,000, we can very well easily see price of Riot reach its prior resistance that we saw to $20. And we've seen Riot run up from like $3 to $80 on the last Bitcoin bull cycle. So I do think that in 2025, we're going to see Riot reach that $50 time point, which is my price forecast from a technical analysis. Let's take a look at just Riot's overall fundamental updates. So here we're looking at just the data that they released, back in their quarterly results for Q3. But what's interesting about Riot is they have a 2 gigawatt power capacity on the path to 100 exahash. And all of this is from the Rockdale facility in Texas, including the newly developed Corsicana facility, including an acquisition in the Kentucky area where they're ramping up the hash rate, but having that be implemented in 2026, 2027. So this acquisition here, they're trying to get their biggest bang for their buck and really develop a strategy that will optimize their hash rate capabilities at that state. But we know that Trump also spoke in the Kentucky area during the Nashville Bitcoin event. So it'll be interesting to see how Riot diversifies and capitalizes being in a state like Kentucky. Let's take a look at Riot's overall infrastructure pipeline, their miner purchase contract, and their clear path to 100 exahash in self-mining, heading into like year 2027. So what we know is that Phase two of Corsicana facility is expected to come online in Q4 of 2025, adding close to 8 exahash. So going from where they are, low 30 exahash to 46.7 exahash. So that's the target by end of next year. Now, once they complete the phase two of Corsicana, which is the hidden gem facility with gigawatt capacity, that will add a total of close to 24 exahash. So you see here, once that phase two is complete, by 2026, we're going to be at like 65.7 exahash. Now, assuming we fully exercise the microBT purchase options and full build out of the Kentucky capacity, that at one point will get to 100 exahash as we head into like 2027, for example. So that just shows the potential for the Kentucky region scaling up its hash rate. But I think with Corsicana rolling out, adding, an extra, 24 exahash separate from the phase two, 8 plus 24, that just, that's like 32 exahash that's added on to where they currently are right now. So very bullish with Riot, even though they're not at that level of like Mara or, Clean Spark with the bolstered strategy of having 50 exahash in the first half of the year. But I think what's interesting is that when you look at Riot's balance sheet, they have a low deficit. Like they don't have much liabilities on their balance sheet. So that's an interesting key takeaway here on top of their HODL count of like 17,000 Bitcoins on their treasury reserve. You see here as well that their fleet efficiency continues to improve and they have a target of 2025 to bring that fleet efficiency down to like 20 joules per terahash. And then long-term approach, get that to 18.5 joules of terahash. So, once Riot's purchase order up to 131,000 miners have an average fleet efficiency of 18.5 joules of terahash. So they received a total of close to, 89,000 miners from this order to date. So they haven't really scaled and implemented all of their micro BT miners that they've purchased. So all in all, fleet efficiency is going to improve and they'll get down to that, 20 joules per terahash in 2025. And eventually we'll get to the 18.5 joules per terahash, which will decrease their fixed costs to mine Bitcoin. I believe currently they're at around the average of like 35,000 uh, costs for each Bitcoin. But if and when Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, that net is going to be, just net profits for every Bitcoin that's mined. So that's really going to add value to their balance sheet. Let's take a look at another article here. What we do know is that Starboard, a big time hedge investor, they took a significant stake in Bitcoin miner Riot. And what we know is that that news was announced about last month, but I think we're going to start hearing potential updates from Riot on the strategic direction that Riot is going to be headed. Are they going to pivot and become a hybrid company to capitalize in HPC AI, or will they continue to be a pure Bitcoin miner play? So this is going to be an interesting key takeaway. And the reason why Starboard did make this big investment in Riot is because they see that potential upside. Corsicana facility and the other facilities that Riot has, there's a 2.0 gigawatt potential there. And the fact that Texas, you're around the main urban areas like Dallas and all that, there's going to be increased demand for HPC AI cloud-based service. So all of that will be generating service from these potential clients. So it'll be interesting in any news drop, from Riot, where they will position to convert their mining facilities to space for big data centers. That's going to be potential bullish run-ups as well. Let's take a look at Starboard Value Portfolio Holdings. So, overall, their portfolio value here is $4.7 billion, currently holding on to 20 big positions here. So, examples of what they're holding on to, you have like GoDaddy, Autodesk, Salesforce, Match Group, Wix. So, these are some big time players here, and Starboard has huge upside because they typically have positive returns on what they invest in. And for them to invest in Riot, they know that there's potential in Riot for positive return on investment. And that's why I think there's so much upside with Riot. Just looking at it from a technical analysis, I think in Q1 alone, we can easily see that run up to, $20, which isn't too far away. That's another $7 difference here. But I think that there's 3 to 5x potential from where we are with Riot. And that's why I'm so bullish on this Bitcoin miner company right now, especially with the rising price action of Bitcoin. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe for more related content. Thank you guys.